The blood on the floor wasn't mine. It was my stepfather's. He was on his knees, choking, fingers clawing at his throat like he could pull the fear out of his own body. The room smelled of gun oil and expensive cologne. I was the only one standing. The Mafia boss circled him slowly, calm as a man choosing wine at dinner. "You lied to me," he said softly. My stepfather's eyes found mine, wide, desperate. "Tell him," he gasped. "Tell him you're worth it. Worth it." The boss stopped in front of me. For the first time, I felt his attention fully settle, heavy, deliberate, terrifying. "She's not the payment," he said. My heart dropped. Then he leaned down, grabbed my stepfather by the hair, and whispered words that froze my blood. "She's the leverage." A gun clicked. I screamed his name. The shot echoed. And in that moment, before the ringing in my ears stopped, I understood the twist no one warned me about. I wasn't sold to be owned. I was sold because someone wanted my stepfather destroyed. And the ruthless Mafia boss? He wasn't the villain. He was the executioner. Welcome to Mafia Tales and Secret. Kindly comment where you are watching from and click on the subscribe button to get updated when we drop the tales. For days earlier, I was sitting in my stepfather's study at 2 a.m., photographing documents I wasn't supposed to see. Robert Castellano, the man who married my mother when I was 8, the man who raised me after she died in what I was told was a car accident, was a New York City councilman. Respectable. Connected. Boring. Or so I thought. The offshore account statements told a different story. $47 million, moved in increments over 5 years through shell companies with names like Prometheus Holdings and Archon Capital. Money that didn't match his $175,000 city salary. I'd found them by accident, looking for my birth certificate to renew my passport. I was planning to leave New York, start fresh somewhere he couldn't find me. Our relationship had been deteriorating for months, his paranoia, his late-night meetings, the way he'd look at me sometimes like I was a liability instead of family. But when I saw those numbers, I knew I couldn't just disappear. I needed answers first. I spent 3 days following him. Photographing everyone he met. Recording conversations through his office door. That's how I learned about Thomas Ashford. Deputy mayor. Harvard Law. Ambitious. He appeared in Robert's calendar more than anyone else, breakfast meetings, evening drinks, weekend golf. And every time they met, money moved. I didn't know what it meant yet. But I knew it was bad. The night they came for us, I just confronted Robert. I'd printed out the account statements, spread them across his desk, and waited for him to come home. When he saw them, his face went white. "Where did you get these?" "You're safe. The combination is Mom's birthday." "You really thought I wouldn't figure that out?" He poured himself scotch with shaking hands. "You don't understand what you're looking at." "Then explain it." "I can't." "Try." He drained the glass. "I made a deal. Years ago. To protect you." "From what?" "From people who would use you to get to me." His voice broke. "Elena, I need you to trust me. Everything I've done, everything, has been to keep you safe." "Safe from who?" That's when the door burst open. 2 men. Silent. Professional. One of them zip-tied my wrists before I could scream. Robert didn't fight. He just closed his eyes like he'd been expecting this. They drove us to a warehouse in Red Hook. The kind of place where people disappear. Inside, a man was waiting. Dante Volkov. I'd heard the name before, whispered in the same breath as words like Organizatia, Brighton Beach, Untouchable. Russian mob. Old school. Dangerous. He looked at Robert like a scientist examining a failed experiment. "You stole from me," Volkov said quietly. Robert's voice cracked. "I can explain." $47 million. Laundered through city contracts. You thought I wouldn't notice? It wasn't for me. I know. Volkov's gaze shifted to me. It was for the architect. Robert's breath caught. Volkov smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You didn't think I'd find out. You gave him access to my operations. My accounts. My people. And now there's a war coming, Robert. A war you started. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Volkov drew his gun. You chose wrong. That's when Robert looked at me. Tell him, he gasped. Tell him you're worth it. Worth it. The words made my skin crawl. Volkov circled me slowly. Studied me like I was merchandise. She's not the payment, he said. My heart dropped. Then he grabbed Robert by the hair and leaned down. She's the leverage. The gun clicked. I screamed. The shot was deafening. Robert's body hit the floor. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Volkov holstered his weapon and turned to me. You have two choices, he said calmly. Help me find the architect, or I leave you here with his body. My voice came out broken. I don't know who that is. Yes, you do. You've been following your stepfather for 3 days. You photographed everyone he met. You recorded conversations. You're smarter than he gave you credit for. I stared at him. How did you? I've been watching you both. He nodded to his men. Take her. She's going to help us win a war. They brought me to a penthouse in Tribeca. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Marble counters. Art that probably cost more than my college tuition. A prison with a view. A woman met me at the door. Late 30s, blonde, cold-eyed. Irina Morozova. Volkov's second in command. Rules, she said. Don't leave. Don't use the phone. Don't touch anything without permission. Dante wants answers. You're alive because he thinks you can provide them. I don't have answers. Then find them. She dropped a laptop on the table. Robert's laptop. You've got 12 hours. To do what? Crack his password. Access his files. Tell us who the architect is and what he's planning. She leaned in. Or Dante will decide you're not leverage. You're a loose end. I spent the first hour crying. The second hour, I tried to escape. The door was locked. The windows didn't open. There were cameras in every room. By the third hour, I was staring at the laptop. I'd been in Robert's office dozens of times. I'd seen him type that password 100 times, fingers moving too fast to follow. But I knew him. I knew the kind of man he was. It took me 9 hours. Not because the encryption was sophisticated. Because I didn't want to believe it. The password was, Marion082496. My mother's name. The date she died. August 24, 1996. When I opened the files, my hands were shaking. Inside, I found encrypted emails to someone called Architect, dozens of them, going back 5 years. Wire transfer records showing $47 million split across hundreds of shell accounts. A list of names, city officials, contractors, NYPD officers, federal agents. A video file, dated 3 weeks ago. I clicked it. Robert's face filled the screen. He looked exhausted. Frightened. If you're watching this, I'm already dead. His voice was flat. Rehearsed. I thought I could control it. I thought if I gave them what they wanted, they'd leave us alone. I was wrong. He glanced off camera, like someone might be listening. The architect came to me 5 years ago. He said he needed access to the organization's financial network. He said if I helped him, he'd protect us. Protect you. His eyes filled with tears. I gave him everything. Offshore accounts. Wire transfers. Security protocols. I thought I was buying our safety. But I wasn't. I was funding a war. He leaned closer to the camera. Elena, if you're alive, you need to run. The architect isn't who you think he is. And when Volkov figures out what I did, he'll kill everyone I love. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. For all of it. But especially for your mother. The video cut to black. I sat in silence. Then I replayed it. But especially for your mother. What did that mean? The door opened. Volkov walked in, flanked by Irina. Did you find anything? He asked. I closed the laptop. He was working for someone called the architect. He gave them access to your financial systems. Show me. I played the video. Volkov watched without expression. When it ended, he was quiet for a long time. Your stepfather was a coward, he finally said. But he wasn't lying. The architect is real. And if he has access to our operations, we're all targets. So what do you want from me? I want you to help me find him. I'm not a detective. No. But you're smart. You tracked your stepfather for 3 days without him noticing. You cracked his encryption in 9 hours. And most importantly, he leaned against the table. The architect thinks you're an asset. He'll come for you. And when he does, we'll be ready. My stomach dropped. You're using me as bait. I'm giving you a purpose. His expression softened slightly. You want to know what your stepfather meant about your mother? Help me find the architect. I promise you'll get answers. I stared at him. And if I refuse? Then you're a loose end. He stood. And I don't leave loose ends. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I went through every file on Robert's laptop. The emails were coded, vague references to shipments and accounts and timelines. But patterns emerged. The architect always signed off with the same phrase, in the shadow of kings. The wire transfers peaked around city budget votes. 3 names appeared repeatedly: Thomas Ashford, deputy mayor. Marcus Chen, NYPD chief of organized crime. And someone called Sentinel. I ran searches on all 3. Ashford was easy, public figure, political climber, married with 2 kids. Clean record. Chen had been investigated twice for corruption. Both cases were dropped. Sentinel was a ghost. The next morning, Irina brought me coffee. Dante wants an update, she said. I have 3 names. One of them might be the architect. Might? The emails are coded. But there's a pattern. I showed her the phrase, in the shadow of kings. She frowned. Mean anything to you? Not yet. But my stepfather wasn't creative. If he used it, it's something personal. Like what? I thought back. Robert wasn't religious, wasn't literary, wasn't philosophical. But he used to take me somewhere when I was a kid. Before my mother died. There's a church, I said slowly. In Brighton Beach. Russian Orthodox. My mother used to take me there when I was little. After she died, Robert would bring me on her birthday. What's it called? St. Sergius Cathedral. Irina's eyes narrowed. I know it. There's an inscription above the altar. My mother used to translate it for me. I closed my eyes, remembering her voice. In the shadow of kings, we find our purpose. Irina called Volkov immediately. He arrived 20 minutes later. You think the architect is using the church? He asked. I think Robert left something there. A message. Evidence. Something. Why? Because he knew he was going to die. And he knew I'd remember. Volkov studied me for a long moment. We go tonight, he said. Brighton Beach at midnight felt like another country. Cyrillic signs. Dark storefronts. The smell of the ocean mixed with cigarette smoke. St. Sergius Cathedral loomed at the end of the block, its golden domes catching the streetlights. Volkov brought 4 men. Irina stayed close to me. If this is a trap, she murmured, stay behind me. It's not a trap. You don't know that. She was right. I didn't. The cathedral was unlocked. Inside, it was exactly as I remembered, icons on every wall, candles flickering in red glass, the smell of incense thick in the air. Volkov's men spread out. I walked straight to the altar. The inscription was still there, carved into the stone. In the shadow of kings, we find our purpose. I ran my fingers along the letters. Elena, Irina whispered. What are you looking for? Something that doesn't belong. Then I felt it. A loose stone. Right beneath the inn. I pried it free. Behind it, a USB drive. Volkov plugged it into his phone. Files appeared. Hundreds of them. Financial records. Photographs. Audio recordings. And a video. He pressed play. Thomas Ashford's face filled the screen. Mid-50s. Gray hair. Expensive suit. Confident smile. Robert, if you're watching this, it means you've broken our agreement. His voice was smooth. Practiced. I told you what would happen if you talked. I told you what I'd do to your stepdaughter. But you didn't listen. He leaned closer to the camera. The organization is weak. Volkov is weak. And when I'm done, this city will belong to me. Not the Russians. Not the Italians. Me. He smiled. Tell Volkov I'm coming for him. Tell him I have his accounts, his contacts, his operations. Tell him he's already lost. The video ended. Volkov's jaw tightened. Ashford, he muttered. I stared at the screen. The deputy mayor? Not for long. Volkov looked at Irina. How many men can we mobilize? 20. Maybe 30 if we pull from Brooklyn. Do it. We're going to City Hall. Wait, I said. You can't just storm City Hall. He's protected. Security. Cops. Witnesses. Then what do you suggest? I thought fast. He thinks I'm an asset. He thinks Robert left me files, information, leverage. I met Volkov's eyes. Let me go to him. Let me offer to trade. Trade what? The files. In exchange for my safety. Volkov's expression didn't change. He'll kill you. Not if you're listening. Not if I'm wired. I stepped closer. You said it yourself, I'm leverage. Let me use it. Irina shook her head. This is insane. But Volkov was considering it. If you do this, he said slowly, you don't get to change your mind. You're in. All the way. I know. And if it goes wrong, I can't save you. I thought about Robert's video. About my mother. I'm not asking you to save me, I said. I'm asking you to let me finish this. 2 days later, I walked into City Hall alone. Well, alone except for the wire taped to my ribs and the tracking device sewn into my jacket. Volkov was 3 blocks away with 20 men. Irina was in a van across the street. And I was about to meet the man who destroyed my family. Ashford's office was on the 3rd floor. Mahogany desk. Leather chairs. Photos of him shaking hands with the governor, the mayor, the police commissioner. He stood when I entered. Elena Castellano, he said warmly. I've been expecting you. I forced myself to stay calm. You know who I am. Of course. Your stepfather talked about you constantly. He gestured to a chair. Please. Sit. I didn't move. I have files, I said. Everything Robert had on you. Transfers. Emails. Recordings. Ashford smiled. I know. I want to make a deal. What kind of deal? I give you the files. You let me walk away. He studied me for a long moment. Then he laughed. Elena, do you really think I'm going to let you walk away? My heart was pounding. You don't have a choice. Don't I? He pressed a button on his desk. The door opened. Marcus Chen walked in. NYPD Chief of Organized Crime. The second name on Robert's list. Elena, Chen said pleasantly. Thanks for coming. I tried to run. Chen grabbed my arm. Not so fast. Ashford walked around his desk. You're right. I do need those files. But I don't need you. Volkov knows I'm here, I said quickly. If I don't walk out, he's coming for you. Volkov is a dying breed. Old world. Obsolete. Ashford leaned closer. By tomorrow, his organization will be dismantled. His accounts frozen. His men arrested. And this city will finally be under proper management. Your management. Someone has to run things. He nodded to Chen. Take her downstairs. Take her downstairs. Make sure she doesn't make any noise. Chen dragged me toward the door. I fought. Screamed. Volkov. I shouted. He's here. Chen is. Chen hit me. My vision blurred. Then the window exploded. Glass everywhere. Gunfire. Chen dove for cover. Ashford grabbed a gun from his desk drawer. And I ran. The hallway was chaos. Alarms blaring. People screaming. Volkov's men storming the building. I stumbled toward the stairs, blood running down my face from where Chen had hit me. Behind me, gunfire echoed. I didn't look back. I found Irina on the second floor. Where's Ashford? She demanded. His office. Chen's with him. Volkov's men are pinned down. We need another way in. I thought fast. There's a service entrance. North side. It leads to the executive floor. How do you know? Robert used to bring me here when I was a kid. For take your daughter to work day. I grabbed her arm. I can get us in. The service entrance was unguarded. We moved fast. Quiet. By the time we reached Ashford's floor, 2 of Volkov's men were dead. Chen was barricaded in a conference room. And Ashford was gone. Where is he? Irina hissed. I scanned the hallway. Then I saw it, a door marked private. The mayor's office, I said. It has a private elevator. He's running. We kicked the door open. Ashford was at the elevator, jabbing the button frantically. When he saw us, his face went white. Elena, he said. Wait. We can talk about this. I walked toward him slowly. You killed my mother. His expression shifted. Surprise. Robert told you. He didn't have to. I stopped in front of him. You said it yourself. In the video. You said you'd do to me what you did to her. Ashford's jaw tightened. Your mother was collateral damage. Robert owed people money. Dangerous people. I offered to make the debt go away. He refused. So you killed her. I sent a message. He straightened his tie. It's just business, Elena. Nothing personal. The elevator doors opened. Ashford stepped inside. "You're not going to shoot me," he said. "You're not like us." I raised Irina's gun. "You're right," I said. "I'm not." I fired. The bullet hit the elevator panel. Sparks flew. The doors jammed half open. Ashford lunged for me. I sidestepped. He stumbled. Irina kicked him in the chest. He fell backward into the elevator. "Elena," he gasped. "You don't understand. I have files. Insurance. If I die, everything goes public. Volkov. You. All of it." "Good," I said. I pressed the emergency stop button. The elevator jerked. Ashford screamed. Volkov found us 10 minutes later. Ashford was unconscious, bleeding from a head wound. Chen was in custody. And I was sitting on the floor, shaking. Volkov knelt beside me. "You did well," he said quietly. "I didn't kill him." "I know." He stood. "That's why you're not like us." 3 weeks later, I sat in a cafe in Montreal. Snow falling outside. A new name. A new passport. Volkov had kept his word. But before he let me go, he told me the truth. "Your mother didn't die in a car accident," he'd said. We were in his penthouse. Irina was gone. It was just us. Ashford had her killed. But not because of Robert's debt. He'd handed me a file. Because she found out what Robert was doing. And she was going to expose him. I'd stared at the documents. Bank records. Emails. A police report marked closed, accidental death. Robert knew. I'd whispered. He made a choice. Her life, or his career. Volkov's expression was unreadable. He chose wrong. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve to know who your stepfather really was." He'd stood. "And because you remind me of someone." "Who?" "My sister. She was leverage once, too." His voice was quiet. "I didn't save her. But I saved you." He'd handed me an envelope. "Inside is everything you need. New identity. Bank account. Contacts if you ever need help." "Why?" "Because you were the only honest person in that room." He'd almost smiled. "And because I think you're going to do something better with your life than any of us did." I never saw him again. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that warehouse. The blood on the floor. The gunshot that changed everything. And I wonder. Was I really leverage? Or was I the only one who could have stopped it all? I still don't know. But I do know this. I'm not running anymore. I have Robert's files. Ashford's network. Names, dates, accounts. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Not for revenge. For my mother. 6 months later, the New York Times published a story. Corruption scandal rocks City Hall, Deputy Mayor, Police Chief arrested in mob conspiracy. The byline read, "Anonymous." But I know who really wrote it. And so does Volkov. But I do know this. I'm not running anymore. I have Robert's files. Ashford's network. Names, dates, accounts. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Not for revenge. For my mother. 6 months later, the New York Times published a story. Corruption scandal rocks City Hall, Deputy Mayor, Police Chief arrested in mob conspiracy. The byline read, "Anonymous." But I know who really wrote it. And so does Volkov. If you enjoying listening, kindly drop and comment and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you in our next video.